I'm sure you've heard by now, lots of headliners in the news about the current market here in Ottawa and Ontario. Lots of talk and buzzwords like market crash, the bubble has finally burst, record low sales, and the big one, recession. But are we actually in a recession or a market correction? Wait, what's the difference? Let's talk about it. Welcome back and thanks for tuning in. My name is Andrei with the Medow Group, and if you're finding value in these types of videos, please consider subscribing and hitting that bell notification for upcoming content, and don't forget to smash the like button. And finally, if you'd like to chat more about the market in general to get a better understanding of what's happening in your neighborhood, there's a link in the description below. In 2020 and 2021, we saw a market like never before here in Ottawa, and oh boy, were we in for a ride. Sellers were in top position to capitalize on their homes, and buyers had to aggressively compete against each other in hopes of being the top offer, sometimes stretching their maximum limit to what they could actually afford. We had amazing appreciation, or how much value your home gained year over year. Homeowners saw equity build up and they were able to use that money to purchase more properties or fix their current ones. This was the new norm, and consumers were getting used to it, and agents were helping them navigate this quick and uncertain market. Until now. Interest rates went up, the number of sales or transactions went down, and month over month, the average price of a home started to decrease. And here come the headliners talking about a market crash and consumers starting to panic. So, are we in or headed towards a recession? Let's break it down. A recession occurs when the whole economy suffers major losses. It can be simply defined as a decline in economic activity for at least 6 months. The result could be from consumer spending and a loss in sales, workforce layoffs, industrial production, real income, and a drop in GDP, or the value of all goods and services produced across the economy, which, by the way, is a key indicator for economists. And to add to all this, we have inflation at a record high, and Bank of Canada expected to raise the rates again this year. So what's a correction then? A correction describes when an asset or a specific industry loses a significant amount of value over a short period of time. It's called a correction because prices are correcting to more accurately reflect the true value or market value of the actual asset, in this case real estate. We compare the average sold price month over month and then year over year to see if there's a positive or negative appreciation in value. The good news is that year over year we still have an increase. The bad news is that we can't predict what will happen in the next 3 months, so we are now in a wait and see period. I'll link a video on that topic above. Now that we know the difference between a recession and a correction, what does this all mean for housing affordability? And will prices drop for good so that most consumers can finally purchase their dream home? Let's take a look at a graph of the Housing Affordability Index for Canada and a history of mortgage rates. All links will be in the description below. Okay, so here we have the Housing Affordability Index, and as you can see, from 0.9 to 1.9 is the affordable range, and the average from 1980 to 2020 was right on that 1 right there. So here's the forecast. We are sitting at 2022 right now, and we are around just below 1.4. Now, what's interesting is that the prediction by 2040, so we have quite a ways to go, it's going to start to drop, and it's going to kind of plateau here at the bottom. So from about 2030 and on. But what's interesting, it is still on the less affordable side as the bottom here where the more affordable is. And that has to do with supply and demand and months of an inventory that we'll talk about in a second. And here we have a history of the average variable versus the 5-year mortgage rates. It's gonna show you the year. So over here we have, it starts all the way back to 1975. What the variable rate was, in this case, 8.7. The 5-year rate, 11.5. Which best rate was at the time was the variable, and then the best over worst. As we scroll down, as you can see, the variable rates are quite high. Obviously, a little bit of a different economic time back then, just to give you an idea of what the rates were back then. So as we get to kind of 1985, it's still at 10.2, 1992, 7.2. Let's scroll down to the last couple of years. So pre-pandemic, we were 3.15. The 5-year was 5.34. Obviously, the variable was a better option. And there's your difference, best over worst. Then 2019, 3.65. The 5-year was 5.34. Now, as we get into 2020, 2.15 on the variable. And as we start the pandemic, obviously,
2.15, and now 2022 we are sitting at 2.40. The 5-year fixed was 4.79. Now we also have posted mortgage rates for 1, 3, and 5-year terms if you want to compare them a little bit more. So here you have the 1-year rate, the 3-year, the 5-year, and then what the best rate was, and then best over worst. So again, as we scroll down, obviously the numbers were a lot different back then. Let's go down to 2019, 3.64, 4.29, 5.34. The 1 year was better. All across the board, the 1 year was better, obviously. Now, just again to give you an idea of the numbers, 3.19, 2.79, and in 2022, 3.09.
Common question that we consistently get from our clients today is, will prices drop if the demand picks up? What we need to understand is that despite everything that is happening in today's market, supply and demand is still the most fundamental economic factor in real estate or any type of market. When there is low supply, the housing inventory drives prices up, and there are multiple consumers that want the same thing. When there is a weak economy and an oversupply of homes, there is low or no demand at all, and the prices of homes tend to fall. So how's our current economy? Are we actually in a stable market? Well, Ottawa has about 30% of the population working for the government, which is the most sustainable job in our economy today. We have new immigration coming to Canada, mostly to Ontario, with large numbers, but the builders are short of producing supply to fulfill all the demand. So where will they live? Will they rent? We do rentals here at the Medow Group, and believe me, there is a short supply of rentals as well. And don't forget the out-of-towners that are cashing out in their expensive markets, that are moving to take advantage of a cheaper and more undervalued market like Ottawa. And finally, population growth. Ottawa is expected to grow between 400,000 and 500,000 new residents by 2045. That's a lot of people that will need a lot of homes. What do you think? Will rate hikes actually slow the market down? Or will new immigration and population growth increase the demand and keep the prices hovering where they are today? Will builders keep up, or are they already too far behind? Drop your comments below. Thanks for tuning in, and catch you in the next one.